Okay, look, I know this has already been said like a million times by now on the internet, but Sonic music is good. Like, really good. Even when his games are half-playable piles of crud that had the development time of a human child, and yet still managed to be even more whiny, clingy, self-destructive, and unable to do anything by itself, they still all managed to deliver a top-tier soundtrack. And so, that's why I decided to make today's video. In order to really dig deep into the pile of Sonic music, and really gain a comprehensive appreciation for everything it has to offer, we're going to be taking a look at each mainline game and choosing the best tune from that respective title. In this video specifically, we'll be taking a look at games from the classic Sonic era. Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic CD, Sonic 3, and Sonic & Knuckles. I'm Lemon Cake Studios, and today, we'll begin our journey of answering the question, what is the best song in every Sonic game? Kicking it off is the game that started it all, Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis. Right off the bat, we're starting with a pretty interesting scenario. In my opinion, there isn't one song in this game that's necessarily better than the others. They're all catchy, do a great job of enhancing the atmosphere of the level they're found in. I mean, what better embodies the idea of pure, unadulterated speed than... In short, I think all of Sonic 1's music is equally good across the board. But that doesn't mean I still don't have a personal favorite. And that is the main theme of Spring Yard Zone. Now look, I'm well aware that this is far from the most iconic song in Sonic 1, but give me a chance to explain why I think it's so incredibly underrated. Everything about Spring Yard Zone's theme embodies Spring Yard Zone itself as a level. Its instrumentation is perfectly suited to the gimmicks utilized here, with the bouncy feel of the bass line and harmony emulating the springs and bumpers beautifully. And on top of that, the melody itself impeccably fits with the vibe Spring Yard Zone gives off. Spring Yard aesthetically is this mysterious, kind of off-putting place, with its muted colors and dark backgrounds. And that unsettling aura is increased tenfold by the shifts between the minor and major keys in combination with the wide variety of intervals employed by the main melody. While it's far from the most well-known Sonic track, in my opinion, it starts off this list as a banger. Easily one of my favorite songs from this era of gaming. As popular as Sonic 1 was, it still is the best-selling Sonic game of all time. It was undoubtedly destined to have a sequel. And in those days, gaming sequels were supposed to improve on everything. Visuals, gameplay, and of course, music. And Sonic the Hedgehog 2 did not disappoint. Alright, you all know what's coming. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the fanfare. The best song from Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is, of course, Chemical Plant Zone. While Sonic 2 still has an absolutely phenomenal OST overall, nothing compares to the sheer hype of Chemical Plant. Its sensational melody, energizing percussion, groovy syncopation, and a masterful breakdown tying everything together, this song is everything a modern EDM or techno artist could ever dream of producing, and I find it's some of the best of its kind. Before we take a look at another Genesis Sonic game, we need to take a detour over our next title, Sonic CD. For the uninformed, Sonic CD has not one, but two individual soundtracks, one for each of the main regions the game was released in. Both of these OSTs bring some incredible offerings to the table, so it's only fair that we take a look at the best song from each. Starting with the Japanese soundtrack, it's widely considered that the best song from this game comes from the level Stardust Speedway, which I agree with. However, I differ on which specific theme from Stardust Speedway. Wait, Stardust Speedway has multiple themes? Well, you see, since Stardust Speedway utilizes a time travel mechanic for its gameplay, each level has multiple variations depending on which time period you choose to travel to. Past, present, good future, and bad future. And as you've probably been able to guess by now, each area has a different variation of the main theme that it makes use of. Most Sonic fans will tell you that the best version of this song comes from Stardust Speedway Bad Future. But personally, I'm more partial to the present. I don't know what to tell you. Everything about this song just works so well. The genre choice? Impeccable. Funky house couldn't have meshed better with the golden streets and shimmering spotlights. The instrumentals? Irreplaceable. The cocky trumpets backed by the cool and confident bass define the vibe. Even the vocal samples are essential to this track. They're so unique, giving life and another layer of depth to the energizing feel that couldn't have been implemented in a more elegant way. Oh, and how it repurposed the main melody of the Bad Future theme into a leitmotif used later in the song? And the fact that it still manages to hit even harder this way, this song is an unspeakable masterpiece and easily makes the cut for my top 5 favorite Sonic songs, hands down. Flipping the OST coin of Sonic CD brings us to the second song we're going to take a look at from this game. As I already said, when CD was being prepped for its North American release, Sega management chose to completely redo the soundtrack. And while I would say that the US OST is generally a downgrade in comparison, it does manage to pull ahead of the Japanese soundtrack in one area in particular, the vocal track. Of course, nowadays, vocal tracks are a staple of the Sonic the Hedgehog series. But when Sonic CD released, this was a completely new thing that had never been seen before. And for a first attempt at including something like this, I'd say they hit the nail square on the head with Sonic Boom. Now, this song may seem kinda tame when compared to what we'd see in the Sonic Adventure series. No screaming vocals or crazy blaring electric guitar riffs. But I believe it's still a solid track and definitely informed the style that these kinds of songs would make use of in the future. Its steady tempo and relatively laid-back instrumentation set the stage for the vocals, which managed to both match its relaxed vibe and still create an uplifting and inspiring atmosphere. Lyrically, it may be a little cheesy, all things considered, but it's nothing too off the rails and is intelligently enough written that it's able to keep me engaged. And while it would be quickly overtaken by the plethora of stunning vocal-themed Sonic games would include in the coming years, for a first attempt at the formula, its success cannot be understated. But before we can get to those aforementioned games, by the way, like and subscribe if you want to see me make a video where I cover the best song from every Adventure era game. We have to head back to the Sega Genesis where there's still a couple more games to cover, starting with the iconic, the incredible, the irreplaceable, except by Mania, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Quick history lesson. During the production of Sonic 3, Sega actually recruited Michael Jackson himself to assist in the composition of this game's soundtrack. While he was definitely known to be involved with Sonic 3's musical production at some point, you won't find him credited in the final game, as Sega had to cut ties due to, well, his current circumstances. What you will find in the final game, though, is a lot of his musical influence. From drum patterns, to little snippets of melody, and things that can really only be described as, well, Michael Jackson. And you're probably thinking, of course the best song from this game had to have been composed by him. Well, not in my opinion. No offense to Michael, but the song I chose as number 1 from this game was completely Sega's handiwork. Hydrocity Zone, Act 1. Yeah, I said Hydrocity instead of Hydro City. What are you gonna do? Dislike the video? If you've been paying attention to the kinds of songs I've chosen so far on this list, you've probably gotten a decent idea of my musical tastes. I love my Sonic games when they come with a sided groove. And Hydrocity throws in a double portion at no extra charge. Its main melody is filled with all those funky ascensions and descensions. And I love the half-note intervals it uses in both the melody and the harmony. And how they've managed to complement that with the rhythmic, deep-throated bass line, it's so good. By the time Sega began work on the second half of Sonic 3, Sonic & Knuckles, Michael Jackson and his team were long gone from the project, meaning that Sega was on their own to compose the follow-up to Sonic 3's score. But unsurprisingly, that didn't faze them at all. In fact, I personally believe this next song is peak of not only the Sonic 3 and Knuckles OST, but one of the greatest songs of the 16-bit era in its entirety. Lava Reef Zone, Act 1. Let me explain why I'm so enamored with this song. It's the perfect example of how music can both match and enhance the vibe of a given level. Listen to this quote from Liam Triforce's video, Why I Love Classic Sonic, describing the atmosphere of Lava Reef itself. Lava Reef was designed for players to jog rather than sprint. This is a beautiful metaphor, not only because it has to do with running, get it? It's also perfectly indicative of the type of level Lava Reef is by design. It wasn't designed to grind Sonic's speed to a halt, but instead to make the player more aware and cautious as they try to maintain a steady pace. And the music somehow enhances this level design philosophy exponentially. That light-footedness you feel when jumping over lava or narrowly avoiding spike traps is mirrored perfectly in the alternating octave notes of the harmony. And that notion of venturing down the corridors, unaware of what lies around the next bend, is brought to the forefront of your mind by that melody that's somehow grave, mysterious, and inspiring all at the same time. In my opinion, this song is the standard of what music should do for a video game level. Not only is it the best at doing this in all of Sonic & Knuckles, it's one of the best at doing this in the entire franchise. And a great way to cap off our time with this generation of the Blue Blur. What's up, guys? Thanks again so much for watching this one. If you all liked it and want to see me make more videos analyzing the best song from every other mainline Sonic game, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below to let me know. If you guys enjoyed it enough, I would love to follow it up with a part 2, where we take a look at Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, and Sonic 06. Until then, thanks again so much for watching, guys. This has been Lemon Cake Studios. Hope you all are having a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.